go ahead and set this up.
Well,
Bet it will. What
who
about
is it?
that
I think
big
it's
mountain
Bravo
to
and
it?
Charlie or something like that have BRDMs.
There you go. Restarting the
Or it
prediction.
might be Bravo Delta.
Delta's got beats already.
I know two.
So got a bunch of people reconnecting, but let's carry off as if nothing happened there. We're going over Blue 4 weaponry. Again, their assets, 2 Humvees and an unarmed UH-60, which can be used for transport. Otherwise, Op 4, they're going to be rocking EMR, which is the standard we see for Russian forces within the faction used within Friday Night Fights. AK-74s, RPKs, PKPs, a T-5000 for the sniper. An AKS with a 45-round magazine, which I like to call the banana mag, or an AS Val with a 20-round 9x39 mag. Those are for the 2 recon shooters. Aviation or crew get a choice of the PP2000 submachine gun or an AKS. Nothing on crew served weapons. Their assets include 2 BTR-80s, 2 BRDM-2s, 1 BRDM-UM, which is the command version with the PKT turret they have to turn out to utilize, 4 Kamaz trucks, and 4 Gaz Tiger transport cars. Green 4, meanwhile, if you couldn't tell, it's the Greek Modern Armed Forces Lizard camouflage. You see all of these pictures here. They indicate abbreviations for all of the different kits. And otherwise, loadouts are going to consist of a mix of 416s and L1A1s, as well as M2010s. Excuse me, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Sniper gets an M2010. Support gunner gets either an FN mag or a mini-me, depending on where they are. Their light anti-tank's going to be the M72 Law. And then the suppressed shooters for the recon team get a Mark 14 or an MP7 submachine gun, which will be suppressed. Crew and aviation also get MP7s or an HK-416. Otherwise, their assets include 2 older style M2. Actually, no, they're newer style because they got the up armor over the M113 there. They have a single transport off-road and then an off-road HMG to also utilize. So that is all of the kits broken down. Looking over at the Op 4 forces here, we got Maz, ground commander. We were listening to
your name. What vehicle do you
him
have?
making their brief right here. He's breaking down between his squads. Who gets what vehicle, which is quite nice. Grav is going to be his 2IC. Vagrant going to be that platoon-level medic. Rory going to be leading the X-Ray group. Ash going to be the 2IC. Stark taking the T-5000 sniper. They're already off to a new render zone. Spawn zone, which they can transport to. Dryden looks like he's going to be another rifleman there. And Tackleberry, I can't tell which weapon he has. He's in a vehicle, but he is going to be one of these suppressed shooters. So the Op 4 groups, they can either spawn up in the north or the south, and the AO in play is going to be around Charkia, specifically the storage depot and then the outskirts of the town. So it is going to be Green 4 defending, and then Blue 4 is going to be coming in as a reinforcement. It's an interesting breakdown of units in how that is all going. Otherwise, we have Jib Style leading Alpha HQ. Skipu and Giovanni are going to be taking a vehicle crew for one of the BTR-80s. Rico leading Alpha 2 with Green Thumb Shy, Spiky, Dingo, Olaf, and Autovisky with Rico. Malin, there's no Alpha 1. Interesting. So Bravo HQ is going to be led by Malin. Flying Fin and Arcor are going to be vehicle crew gunners. Looks like they are taking the BRDM UM with the PKT. That's the weakest vehicle out of the 5. Interesting choice. Was Bravo 1, led by Yanni with Iander, Nimia, Pertin, Infidel, Whiplash, and Nemesis. Basically a Scandi recon group right there. One of the best communities within Friday Night Fights. Nafs leading Bravo 2 with Colas, Gabian, Frost, Azariah, Katz, and Dobbs all together. I know Katz and Dobbs and Cullis, they're from different communities, but we've been seeing them week after week working with Scandi Recon because they seem to show that same level of tactical aggression. Carmen Jarris, looks like Charlie is all merged here. We got some interesting names. Barondo, Darth, Coulthers, Supreme Leader, Snovix, Bands. I know what they're doing. This is all Pepega Pirates members, and they've decided to go with some Star Wars themed meme names for April Fool's today. I like it. So this is all Pepega Pirates. So Scandi Recon and Pepega. Thanks, Bill. I'll see you in a few hours. Love you. So it's hard to tell who's who, but we do have Bay with their Gonk Fier. Okay, no, I got to go through all these. So Carmen Giroux, I actually don't know who that's a reference to. Brondo Calrissian, we can assume that one. Darth Shader. Supreme Leader Snovix is Novix. I know that. Bands. Gonk Fieri instead of Guy Fieri. Grand Moff Tarkane. So there's Kane. Quinlan Vonk. Oh my gosh. Legal Action is Legal Oregana. Mike Bing. Boba Flux. Eric. Hoodoo D2. Coda, who didn't participate. And Cake Gear 3P. I love it. I love it. Dream is not with us tonight. He apparently couldn't be asked. I love it. So we have Papega and Scandy, the two top communities with an FNF playing together. Doesn't always mean it's a solid guarantee that Op4 is going to win, but I appreciate the enthusiasm tonight. We got a new group, TF131. I think that's a play on Task Force 121 from Call of Duty. Abusive Uncle Andy. I do have an Uncle Andy that hits home. Mary Jade Sideways is also going to be with Kid Ade Money.
Send in Goat Team.
Oh my
6.
god, I love it. I can't tell all of them though, but that's awesome. All right. Let's go ahead and look over at Blue 4 real quick. Lolo's going to be, there is no Command, so Command is going to be part of Green 4. They've got Charlie and Delta as Blue 4, but I'm assuming Command, X-Ray, and Alpha and Bravo are Green 4. So let's actually skip down to Green 4. Green 4 is going to be led by Despo, with Timek as the 2IC, Miss Beard leading the defensive group, as I'm going to call them because it's Blue 4 and Green 4 together. DJ going to be a rifleman. Falcon rocking a suppressed MP7. He has a lot of contenders today fighting both Scandy, Recon, and Papega. Let's see how well he does. Broken being the sniper. Hatkins being the Alpha 1 leader. I don't see an Alpha squad lead, so they've just... Okay, no, it's mainline all the way down there. But he is not going to merge the group, so Hatkins working as Alpha 1 lead. Confused Pupper, Nico, Lavid, Bees, and Like a Boss, or just Like Boss, I guess, under Alpha 1. Alpha 2 has Mattifine with Nick and Aim at the Stars. Interesting. We've got Bert leading with Gorvisky. I assume he's a vehicle crewman. Under Bravo HQ, it looks like Bravo 1 and Bravo 2 merged. We got Sanchez and Schneid leading basically a bunch of 1RW players. Pierce, Smith, Thomas, Aslan, Freeman, Azus, Suzuki, Potato, and Hunifer. Otherwise, going over up to Blue 4, since we have 4 minutes left, I can still cover this. Interesting development. I'm just glanced over some names. I'll get to it in a second. Lolo leading Charlie 1 with Sismo, Galil, Sam, Revanche, JY, Andre, and Reapers. That's a full TSB group. Nice to see my community represent. Tanaka from Coalition, who I'd argue is also one of the top communities that play in FNF, but we haven't seen them in a while. Bringing Topher, Heinrich, Battlebeeve, Hayez, Raccoon, and Nufflix in this operation. So I'll be curious to see what he does. He could be a good antithesis to the Scandy Recon Papega group we have seen merge today. And then we got Norris also here with Korvac, Toli, Iqbal, Kiri, Skip, Taz, N1, Caffey, and Space. Norris, I mentioned him because he's a great player. And then Oddball, Seven, and Jack all loaded in the chopper already. That's kind of weird because I thought it was an unarmed chopper. Did they change it last second? No, they're just loaded in here prematurely as...
Yes.
That's weird. Like, why would you... I get having the co-pilot for the unarmed chopper. Why would you have a third person? I think they might intend to have this guy turn out with his gun and actually fire down as a rifleman, in which case they should give him a heavier gun, in my opinion. But maybe they're going to use that asset for scouting instead. That's a really weird use of that asset. But anyway, let's go ahead and look over the terminals. Altis, I mean, who doesn't know Altis that plays Arma? We've got the first compound being the small military compound within Charkia. Looks like the exact terminal position is in some of these added rusted military complex buildings, specifically in that corner. So fairly defensible, has some big open areas behind it. They've also put a bunch of Hescos to prevent any vehicle rushes. I like that. From the barracks buildings, you could actually have a pretty good lockdown of this open area, but you're going to have to capitalize on taking this ridge because this could allow a big spot for Op4 to walk up on you. Plus, if they were to come in from the town to your southwest, it's going to be really hard to defend that urban CQC environment. Terminal 3 is going to try to maintain that by being in the church itself right here. A classic position. You normally see the terminals in buildings like churches or other special ones in the AO because they're more easily defensible, but I'll get back to this one in a second. I do like the buildup of Rex right here. That's going to make it a little more interesting outside of that one terminal area. And then, of course, you have Terminal 2 in what appears to be an up-fortified building here. Nope, I am one off. It's this one. Now, this is quite interesting because I thought this was a ruined shed building, but they might have elevated it a little bit, maybe because they weren't happy with it, or this just might not even be a shed at all. But looking at the the way the ground is right here, there definitely is a building. I could have sworn it was a wrecked one, but it might just have been a regular one, so they opened it up instead to make it a lot harder to do an internal defense of this structure. So the compound here itself is really well defendable, but I mean, that's going to be really tough for Green 4 and Blue 4 to defend either way. I mean, because you have to basically hunker down and defend Charkia. If you want to capitalize on the open areas, then you might thin out your actual urban defense, but because the terminal sites are kind of on the edge of the city instead of in the center, it makes it that much tougher for them to get away with all of that. So we already see X-Ray moving north here. Round officially began. Op4 starting to make their push into this territory. Blue 4 is going to be quick to respond, but it looks like Green 4 is doing a very ambitious counterattack play. Despo going for broke here to try to stop what he is predicting Op4's main force to come in. But I think he's not making an accurate prediction. He's spreading his forces here because we're seeing Green 4 heading north and south along the two predicted MSRs that they might come in on. And so far he's been able to properly predict some of them, but nope, this force has diverted south. He's going for broke on the southern side. Interesting. Noah, thanks for the 26-month resub. I hope you keep enjoying the operations, and I do hope you get a nice kick out of this scenario. Now, I'm going to go ahead and write everything up. There we go. Just setting up my highlights for later. Autovisky didn't reach the network speeds. That's unfortunate. Now, Green 4 setting up, it looks like they're actually going to these hilltop positions with a squad each. They're going to try to set up blocking forces to engage any Op4 forces that are coming along from the south. That could pay off for them, but it looks like the Op4 convoy is now diverting to the right and might try to go around on the northern side to possibly circumvent any of these positions. One important thing to quickly note, though, is we have Alpha 1 coming up to this hilltop, but these gases are going to be a lot quicker, and there's Stark. I didn't notice Stark. He's, okay, yeah, no, he was the sniper. But again, another really good player to consider. Put a smile on my face today before we have our fun. Hey, Liru, I'm in talks with a small community for SG1s versus furries. If you get that to go, let me know what time. I will clear my schedule to play that, unless I have something critical. But here we go, Op4 and Green 4 coming up together. They haven't even noticed each other yet. So we just saw two people go down, a third, two Green 4 to one Op4.
Hello.
And now you're hearing the voices of the dead, so I gotta quickly tab out to adjust that. My apologies. I gotta mute myself when I'm in the TFAR channel. But yeah, Green 4 went up here and ran into pretty much an entire squad of Op4 that are trying to take that hill. Meanwhile, Op4, as I figured, they are trying to circumvent this AO, running the border here. Real quick, does Green 4 see these vehicles coming around? I can't tell if they do or not. We don't see that 50 cal firing, but Op4 taking a squad to try to take this hill. I'd imagine this is where Op4 is going to make their move. They're going to bring their vehicles all the way around and attack from this one angle. This squad was sent ahead to check if Green 4 had a heavy amount of defensive forces here, so these guys could then tell that convoy to pull off to then attack from a different angle. That's why we didn't see them all start from the top, because it clearly says that Op4 is clear to teleport as many squads as they want through the safe zones, so they all could have come from the north if they wanted to. So this is them kind of hedging their bets to see where a weakness in the defensive lines are, and now they're going to start trying to exploit it. We do have a four-man team coming up with another off-road here, as the rest of Green 4 is desperately trying to pull back. They've got a few guys coming up on their flank as they're being shot in the rear, trying to maximize on this defilade cover. Hey, Mod, I'm gonna put something in the moderator channel during the break, and I'll give it a PSA to all mods. But anyway, we'll we'll get there when we get there. Sorry, random thoughts going through my mind. But you have the UH-60. Again, it's unarmed, going overhead, but it has someone in a freaking spot to shoot outside of it, which I find interesting. But now we've got Op4 They're starting to set up a staged attack right here. We've got the 2 BTRs, the 3 BRDMs. Again, it's 2 BRDM-2s, 2 BTR-80s, and a BRDM-UM, which just has the PKT meant to be a command vehicle, which I believe is that one right there. You can tell because that top symbol is slightly different than these two, which dictate there's a turret up top. So what could be interesting here is Green 4 has 2 squads out of position. They haven't noticed this massive Op 4 push coming. Not yet, at least, but they could potentially move into the valley and flank, but there's not a lot of cover down here. If Op 4 is able to maintain control of this ridge, they could potentially get some nice long-range strikes into this AO, but, I mean, Blue 4 has now started fully deploying. Sector 2 doesn't have any defenses on it. My fear here is that Op 4 is going to be able to get into here and utilize this position to start scouting and having a bit of an extended firefight between this open area to get into the other sectors. But so far, Green 4 has been very spread out and slowly getting picked off in multiple directions. It might make it tougher for the defenders to actually hold because of how cohesive Op 4 is being here in their attack. And by deploying on one angle with all of their vehicle support close by, it's going to be really tough to beat this because they're at an elevated position. They've got open areas all around them. It's going to be really difficult for the defenders to try to encircle this position. But the original firefight that started already is putting Green 4 on the run. They've lost, a significant chunk of their forces already in the form of one fire team and part of their X-ray group, and they just got picked off immediately by Shy and Green Thumb there. I don't know how this is going to acquiesce. Yeah, hi, DJ. You were in the Green 4 group that got immediately smacked right there, right? Take a look at the unit deployments here, because I know this is your mission. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on how this is playing out so far and whether or not this was what you came up with when everything happened. You got shot by Spiky? Please don't tell me it was a friendly fire then. So we have had Dryden go down under Op 4, but he was that first casualty that happened. I'm curious now. Falcon running around within the compound. He could do some really good CQC with that MP7, but even he might meet his match because he has a lot of good players here that he's going to end up fighting. Attackers edged out with a 57% majority at best. I'd say based off of the troops we saw on both sides, I'm not surprised. Altis itself, and when you also look at this AO, it's a very open one. Now, if the terminals were in a bit more of a defensive position, like terminal, I believe that was 3, yep. If it was more in the center of the map, I could have seen Blue 4 and Green 4 just defending the town outright, but it's on the edge. So it makes it a lot tougher for Blue 4 and Green 4 to properly mount a defense here. There's a freaking video on YouTube of me opening the pickle jar. All right, it's there. It's done. It's all set. But I digress from the April Fool's jokes. We got Blue 4 basically now checking this entire area out. We have the I really like this, though. We have a BRDM to the south. We have a BTR to the north. All supporting each other. The UM's been dismounted. There's a BRDM on the rear of the infantry formation, and the second BTR is now joining its sister in the valley to maximize coverage of these open zones. This is actually a really, really good vehicle formation because they're diversifying their vehicle assets in positions where they can not only support the infantry, but cover the infantry's flanks, but also where they're the most vulnerable, they're in positions to potentially support each other. And this is probably the riskiest part of the formation because these guys are off on their own. I'd be curious if these 3 Blue 4 guys have any form of AT. They do have a Maz. Korvac is in striking position of these 2 BTRs. He could potentially eliminate one, if not both. Especially since this BTR is going to come right up to this spot. Can the gunner spot him in time? No. There's the first BTR flamed out. It pushed way ahead, but now this BTR is going to start engaging this open area. So that was a great counter by Korvac's small team there, but we are going to have to see Blue 4 and Green 4 start playing these small guerrilla tactics like these to start whittling down on Op 4's assets. We saw another AT round go in, but the BTR is pulling back, knowing that if it stays static, it's a much easier target as they're trying to suppress Korvac with that PKT, which they got 250 rounds for. They really want to be using that KPTV 50 round box. That was an HE round that went by. All right, real quick. Mat settings. Blue 4 have a single HE round, 2 AT rounds. Everyone has either 2 or 3 AT rounds and 1 HE. Interesting. So a little bit of HE rounds to work with. HE rounds hitting this formation as it went in would actually be devastating for Blue 4 and Green 4 to utilize. Maybe in the CQC sense, we'll also see that be utilized as well. But now we need to see if Blue 4 and Green 4 can adapt to doing some really good guerrilla warfare style tactics like that one, utilizing small teams of infantry to take out either vehicle assets or big groups of infantry coming in to try to not just trade evenly, but trade in an advantageous position for Blue 4 and Green 4 to whittle down Op4's number advantage and hopefully at least hold one of the terminals by the end. With Op4 attacking from this direction, their main focus is going to be Terminal 2. We do have players like Falcon in here that are really good with CQC, but we also have Pepega and Scandi Recon leading the charge here for Op4. I really can't tell you which way this is going to go. Normally we'd have a few different scenarios of I could tell you that the defenders are probably going to hold based off of who's there. But no, this is kind of leaning in Op4's favor in my opinion. I mean, if you remember how well Maz did in round 3 of NA last week and now he's commanding, I mean, it's devastating. One of the chances I do see here, and we're actually starting to see it, those two groups that were to the south for Green 4 coming around and trying to engage the rear of Op4's line is a great call, but look at how maneuverable Op4 is being. Literally all of their forces are moving quickly past this ridge, and these vehicles are going to have to charge very close to be effective. But how much damage can they do before Op4 turns around and starts trying to deal with them? But maybe that might just be all of what Op4 needs to get broken apart and be in positions where they can't support each other to allow the defenders to go. But my fear right now is look at where Op4's already, Green 4's already dismounting. They're dismounting way off from where they need to be dismounted. They need to be getting a lot closer. And this is just going to allow Op4 to keep their cohesion when they push in and just absolutely swarm the Terminal 2 site. So we just have to see how well the defenders are with their PvP here. It could really go either way, but I mean, with such a significant Op4 number advantage, but look at that, Scandi leading the charge with some Pepega players mixed in, taking the rear of this formation. But I mean, some of the best players, if not most of the best players, are in this formation for Friday Night Fights. Now, I do appreciate that we do have the M2 Humvee right here. It's using iron sights, trying to do a general suppression of that smoke. We're seeing some grenades getting thrown back and forth here. Infidel taking a pretty good amount of shrapnel. UH-60 didn't lose its engine. I heard a metallic hit to indicate that it got struck by some sort of small round. Probably a 12.7, or excuse me, 14.5 millimeter from the BRDM or something, but it wasn't a significant hit to knock the engine out. Meanwhile, you see the other BTR gets hit. This rear attack has been noticed, but they are way out of position. This Op4 force is going to probably be bait now to not only delay that force, but take out this group, but that's not going to stop the main force from doing their sweep. So eventually these guys are going to come around and hit the rear of this Op4 line, but I think Op4 is going to be able to get their foot in the door before that happens. All right, we got Nick in the high position here. Gonk Fieri knows that there is sometimes a player up in this area. Nick, though, with the 240 Bravo. Cake here comes in. Gets taken out, but Kiadi is able to take him out. Going prone up there's a bit of a death sentence because you're basically resting your head right there. Infidel looks like he took more shrapnel damage, got knocked out. Falcon's going to stay in the barracks building, awaiting people to come in. Navik's getting the kill right there. Tarkin, I love the play off of that name. I mean, Falcon is fighting one of the best in a 1v1 right now. And he has a suppressed MP7, so he does have the firepower to do it compared to the 74, but Keen always aims for the center mass or the head when he has the opportunity. But look at this Op4 swarm. Green 4 literally cut down very quickly. Falcon is one of the last hopes here, but again, some of the best players like him, I don't see it. I'd argue Falcon is one of the best, but so is Kane. And there's Hack 2 started. Green 4 doing a great job trying to maneuver up, but we're already having the BRDM turning around. Falcon tries to put some shots down. Keen immediately shuts the door. He knows he's fighting someone that knows what the fuck they're doing. Falcon immediately trying to run around the flank, exposing himself. Bit off a bit more than he could chew, and Keen was able to turn around and execute him. So, again, Falcon really great at doing those maneuver plays, but when he's literally surrounded, you can't make a maneuver like that. Especially against the two top communities with an FNF. So that played out as much as I expected it to, because he either could try to maneuver around but then run into the swarm, or he could try a one-on-one direct confrontation with King, in which case it's anyone's guess on who's going to win that. But as soon as King goes down, Novix would have come up and probably tapped Falcon before he could get away. But look at the firepower coming up to this off-road. It is disabled at this point. You see that gun rust right there? That indicates the gun itself is also disabled, so they can't turn it anymore. And you got Despo, Green 4 Command, and Overall Defense Command back here. His 2IC is dead, but once he falls, you're going to see a little bit of a breakdown in cohesion as squads now fend for themselves. But look at the remaining numbers we're seeing on Op 4 compared to Green 4 and Blue 4. Really, it's going to be now up to Blue 4 to hold its defensive line. There goes Terminal 2. And I'm going to be curious to see if anyone actually picked up Falcon's gun, because that suppressed MP7 might be a good call here, but they are not. They're going to stick with what they got. Now, I do appreciate the remount right here that we've seen. We got someone with an LR, though, that might be able to transmit where these Vics are going, but usually at this point, comms have heavily broken down. But Maz is still alive, commanding on the back line. In a gas, we might be able to still coordinate his forces here. What we might also see, though, is Green 4 is going to, instead of trying to flank the enemy, they're going to get into the terminal sites themselves and just hold with the defense, in which case, if there's not going to be any creative plays the defenders are going to try to pull anymore, I think this is going to be an Op 4 victory. I would give it 15 to 20 minutes tops, in all honesty. This has been a very brutal first round, but I don't know, it feels like a little too much for the defenders to have been able to handle, and it gave way too much room for Op 4 to attack in, and then you gave Op 4 some of the most powerful groups that can capitalize on this scenario. I'm not surprised one bit. There goes Despo, excuse me. Green 4 Command having a great last stand. We just saw GL go on that Vic and take it out, but look, he's being engaged from 3 separate directions. Literal enfilading fire going in over his position. It was only a matter of time, let's be honest. Absolutely brutal. So Op 4, as I predicted, after they take this position, they're forming a little bit of a line here. They're trying to look in and pick off what they can. We see another vehicle on fire here. That is one of the Blue 4 M2 Humvees that was just taken out. Now look at this, though. This group that was over here, they are getting flanked. I think that's a lot of 50 cal fire coming up from one of the M2s. Nope, that's actually Azuki getting some good licks in. Hunir there has already gotten a kill, but they are doing their best to pick off what they can, because these TF-131 guys have not identified where they're being shot at from. They think they're being shot at from the west, so they're taking cover from there, but this beautiful flank by this Green 4 force cutting them down. And I guess the shots are too loud and they're just not able to hear it. So this force has been bitten off. The one thing I'm fearful, though, is this Charlie HQ BRDM driven by Bay, already up 2 kills as the gunner. Who is his driver? Excuse me, I said driven. Gunned by Bay, driven by Corthers here. They're going to get right behind these 113s and tear them to hell apart. Maybe even behind the infantry, but they do have a bit of a thick line of elephant grass there, so I doubt it. So this is probably going to stop this counter. You got Korvac running around back here with the Moz. Is he actually going to run right into the BRDM? He does, but he's immediately spotted. Shot in the back multiple times. Still exposed. As we have Green 4 now turning around, spotted. Korvac getting 2 kills. Bay getting 2 kills. Korvac getting taken out there as well. Bay up to 4 kills now. And now Green 4, I'm not sure if they have any AT to turn around and take this apart. We're seeing some blind suppression from that BRDM. 113 is now turning around. We're going to see him switch to that 14.5 to penetrate into the 113. But this is what Bay excels at when he's in a vehicle. 6 kills now for Bay. Oh, a yellow chain. That is not good. We had Op 4 starting to charge in here. Now, here's my question. Did I just crash out? or is the round still going? Can someone tell me off of the multi there if it's still going? Just me? Interesting. All right. Well, this is something new. Let me go ahead, abort from the server. We'll get right back in. Technical difficulties, you know, it happens. And we'll jump right back on. Ooh. So it appears that there might be something wrong with my internet. Because now I'm not getting any connections to Arma 3 servers. Neat. April Fool's joke special for me, yeah, right? Checking again. Yep, so I just had to refresh the program, and I can get right back in. It's malware. Ha! Yeah, no, because normally when I'm having internet connections, the stream also suffers because I get dropped frames. So I have noticed there's been a few disconnects, so I'm wondering if the server's set up in a way to immediately sever people's connections if certain things are going wrong, which would make sense. But here, we'll get right back into it. My apologies for that little glitch there. We'll check right back up on Bay as we get right back into it. So we're immediately brought over to Maz's position. Op4 have moved into the town, moving into the thicker parts where they'd imagine they wouldn't find any defenders because the defenders would probably be around Terminal 3 and 1. We have Blue 4 putting out a really nice defensive line away here. We see some GLs going off. Looking back over here, oh my god. Isn't that something? So one of the 113s got away. The other one was taken out. What is Bay's kill count? They've had to change some wheels because I think that 50 cal turned around, but 9 kills for Bay. Holy crap. So that 113 came around. An explosive satchel was detonated in this town. Looks like these guys were in the other building, though. But that was a great play. We got a flame out on one of the 113s. And we just look at this battle line of Op4 forces just sweeping through. Eric about to spot Terminal 1. He's got these guys over here also coming around. Ay. Op4 coming around as well. There's Terminal 1 started. We do have a few Blue 4 and Green 4 around, but we're going to have... I think that's Arma Jesus. That's yeah, Arma, and then it's just the Star Wars name around that. I think they know there's Op4 in here though. You got Bonk coming around. UH-60 took some more damage, but nothing critical. Again, you got Op4 slowly breaching around. Blue 4 trying to pick off what they can from various sides here. That 240 defending. We do have Jack and Seven trying to come around to potentially stop the hack. That's in 20 seconds, though. I don't think they're going to make it in time. You got Skip that's come down here. Wounds Conk, Arma Jesus trying to come around to stop him, but it's not enough. He quickly goes around. Arma Jesus then jumps around, trying to catch Skip out of position, ends up running in, shooting early. That only aggroes Skip, and they trade. There's the hack finished as Jack and Seven were getting around. Eric's going to be able to break away from right there. And there's the explosion. Terminal 3, I mean, Blue 4, they're doing a really fierce defense here. I gotta give them that, but, I mean, look at this. TSB and Scandy fighting. Lolo going down in his 1v1 against Azariah. Oh, my God. Bay and Coulthers are out of commission, but, I mean, they destroyed a group of infantry that could have come in to reinforce last second. Azariah going down from his wounds. Still have a few Blue 4 defenders remaining, but we also have this group coming around on the side to get to Terminal 3. I mean, it's a mess. There is all of Green 4 taken out officially. Sam taken out by Yanni Finn in that CQC. Norris is down. I mean, it's just a slaughter. As to be expected, though. All of Green 4 dead right there. Blue 4 down to about I want to say 2 full squads worth across 3 different groups. That helicopter, by the way, is only down to the pilot, the co-pilot, and I would assume the gunner have all been taken out. Nope, they left the helicopter. Okay, so they were brought to the ground only to be cut down here. We see this last scrambling defense by Blue 4 in multiple different positions, but oh, man. Yeah, Falcon, have fun on your vacation, man. It's just cleanup at this point. And then when this force comes in to flank, because this, if it was just down this, I'd say Blue 4 would have a solid chance, but there's so much more Op 4 around in so many different positions that I don't see Blue 4 holding out for another 10 minutes. As soon as Op 4 gets this flank to come around and start harassing that side, this flank comes around to harass the other side, it's going to be over. Taz trading with one of the Op 4 guys up here. Caffey and Hoodoo D2 going at it, but Hoodoo was able to win that fight. It's going to be a desperate defense. I would really love to see Blue 4 counter here. Seismo getting a great flank on one of the Op 4 guys on the rear, takes him off that 249. He could be the catalyst. The one barrier he's going to have is this BRDM covering this infantry flank from the western side. Dobbs is a medic. He could get Azariah back up. Nemesis also a medic. And you got some Blue 4 on the outskirts right here. Looking over, these guys are checking out this 113. They got a Maz, and they're firing AT over at the Blackhawk. Got some smokes going in, though. Op 4 sending their first force. Now, Op 4's got to be really careful that they don't accidentally defeat themselves in detail by only sending one attack at a time and giving Blue 4 a chance to recover after defeating those attacks individually. If Op 4 just swarm the entire AO at the same time, they have a solid chance of winning, if not a near perfect one. But the smoke, I think Dingo's utilizing that. He's trying to get above. He could get on the rooftop of this building and start plinking at Blue 4 that he sees that are exposed. Spiky gonna climb the wall, get right behind Spiky! 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 Spiky, you hear those gunshots! Spiky has a really bad computer, but oh my god. Oh. Spiky! And then Dingo just fell. And now he's gonna hide in the damn smoke. Oh, that's funny. That's pretty damn funny. We're spoiled because we have a bird's eye view of everything, but Fog of War is a real bitch sometimes. The really good PvPers can identify all types of gunshots, know what guns they come from. What is this helicopter doing? Did Oddball just... He just ran himself over with his own helicopter. Amazing. He bailed out of the helicopter and got run over by it. Hack has started. Blue 4's got to go in there to stop it. But this could be the end. I'm waiting to see what Tanaka pulls. He's going to have to go in and fight Yanni. Yanni not looking in the right direction. Immediately shot on the rear. Yanni, what are you thinking? Battle Beef and Tanaka coming in to stop the hack at 35 seconds remaining. Great defensive play. It's at 30 seconds. Tanaka, I think, trying to find the proper interaction. The hack is not stopping. Tanaka does not seem able to stop the hack. What is going on? Battlebeat taking his 134 out. Tanaka. I can only assume it's glitched. Tanaka now coming out, it's going to Glaze of Glory, gets Cats out. I just saw a rope fly out. I don't know what that was about, but that's the round over. The action got removed, so what, Blue 4 can't stop the hack anymore? Because I've never seen that, and if that was a thing, I'd imagine it would be added to the game mode settings. We'll see it in debug later, but I mean, that would have only delayed the inevitable. There were only a few Blue 4 left, and there were still about 20 or 30 Op 4 guys remaining. Even so, that was pretty brutal.